Joining us now is another special guest. You look a little bit like you're done for the day.
I feel like I've lived about 12 days out
Lucy
there.
Bartholomew, welcome. Thanks for joining us here on the Black Canyon 100K live stream. How did it go out there? What went right? What went wrong?
There's not a long list of the right things. There's a long list of the wrong things. Just from the very get-go, I feel like my stomach wasn't really working super well, and then that mud was just, something that in Australia we don't experience. The snow was beautiful, but again, like super hard to run through, and then it was just kind of went downhill from there, like literally and everything else.
Well, you're no stranger to running in the desert. I mean, you've been out here plenty of times. When you're coming out here and the first thing you see is like, okay, do I need to grab a puffy? Do I need to, add an extra layer? Do I need to, make for a longer day? Are those things that, that kind of alter your mindset, especially in the situation that this morning, you thought you were running at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
But you ended up having to push it back a couple hours. How did your preparation maybe differ for this race versus other ones that you've run here in Arizona?
Yeah, so I've never run in Arizona before. This is my first time.
My mistake.
No, you're totally fine. So I packed as if I was here for what I was sold and misled with a warm race in February in the desert. I was training in the Australian summer, feeling pretty confident in that ability. So I actually ended up borrowing Chris Meyer, who came third place today. So I was wearing his long sleeve, his gloves, and I really hoped that something would have rubbed off. But when I heard that he got third place, I feel like it was pretty awesome. So yeah, none of my kit that I was really wearing is my own, and that's why I've got mad chafing on my shorts and everything.
I apologize. I realized that the last time I saw you running in person was in Silverton, and I think of Silverton as being Arizona, so that's what I was thinking, and I realized that. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, well, I'll be back for sure. I need a little bit of time from this race, but I do want to get back to the Arizona desert and to the races here. It's really I've been here 3 weeks and just had such a special time.
So I was just down here listening, chatting with your crew and your coach and so forth, and you ran for 11 hours on 4 gels.
Yeah, don't recommend.
I know there was probably a reason for that, but that's not to be recommended, right?
I am not proud of that statistic. No, not at all. It was, I had for the first time in any of my races in 12 years of running, I actually had a nutrition plan laid out, thanks to Jason Coop, my coach, giving me a prod. But, you can write it all down and lay it all out, but you have to go with what you got. And like those 4 gels went in and probably 3/4 came back out. So I think I probably made up 1 gel out there, and yeah, it was pretty gnarly out there.
And sometimes you have days like that, and you've been in the sport long enough to know that, like, when those days come, you've got to deal with it.
Yeah.
You could have folded the tent. Did you think about folding the tent at all,
or
were you like, no? You did. Did you? Yeah,
I did. Yeah, it's. The cool thing about this race, 100K having pacers, is that I got to Bumblebee. I was kind of, was seeing things starting to unravel. And then it was kind of, I'm going to say 20 kilometers because I'm Australian, but 12 miles to getting Abby Hall. And I've always wanted to run with her. She's one of my biggest inspirations, best friends. So, I wanted to get to Deep Canyon, and then, I wanted to get Amanda Basham out there to bring me home. So those little carrots got me going and kept me going, because otherwise, had I been on my own, I would have been sitting down a lot earlier.
Well, and Abby and Amanda, I mean, they're awesome runners, and they've had, adversity in their own right. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe the 3 of you can sort of bond.
We definitely bonded over it out there, especially Amanda. She's had some gut issues like quite recently, and she's like, see, I told you it sucks. And I was just like, dude, I didn't need to see it to know it. Like, I didn't need to feel it. But yeah, it was cool to have them both so experienced and both just like fully loving the whole experience.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, I'm going to go a little bit off script and just shift away from the race and talk about last year's Western State and your experience with your dad. Because I remember the first year you came to Western States and got third place, and meeting your dad at the finish line, proud papa. You know, I was volunteering down there, and he was sitting on like 5 tickets in the lottery, and you know, he was still trying to do his thing, and then to see it sort of come full circle, and then not even realize, you know, when he came around the track and missed it by a minute and a half, that he missed that crucial turn. Or it's not even really a turn, right? It's that fork after Green Gate, which I, by the way, remember Anita Ortiz missing. Anita Ortiz won the race and actually passed me twice. That was embarrassing because she passed me once, then she missed the same turn your dad missed.
Yeah.
The same thing happened. They're like, we're not supposed to be going downhill,
Yeah.
and everything else. But what was so incredible about that film is how open you were emotionally to the experience, you know, and especially, you know, at Pointed Rocks, where it was kind of clear that I mean, it was gonna be a sprint.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
You know, the film just warmed my heart. Even if I hated Western States, it would warm my heart. So you can imagine how it felt, you know, being someone who loves Western States. But when you saw that film being made and you lived, did it at all? I guess the one thing I want to ask is, did it at all alter the sort of sadness about him missing it?
Do you know, the film was such an incredible part of his healing process. After Western States, he went away with my brothers, one of who's not a runner, and they just kind of just forgot that it ever happened, just moved on. And then when he got home, he was having a really hard time accepting people saying, that was so inspiring, congratulations. And he's like, don't congratulate me, I didn't finish, you know. The film coming out and realizing the impact and seeing the comments and the shares and people getting around it, it really made him very proud of what he achieved out there. I mean, no doubt I thought about him a lot out there today. I was like, you know, it could be worse. I could be at 90 degrees right now, so at least I'm standing straight. But yeah, it's definitely been a really key part of the process, and I'm lucky that Dylan Harris is here filming me here, because you know, he's just an amazing storyteller, and he's now part of the family.
He kind of knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's all right.
Quick break here. I want to give a heads up to the most recent finishers here. Kat Bradley, 11:10:42. Congratulations to Kat.
Oh, awesome.
Abby Swift, 11:16:25. And our second of the 100-mile challengers, Jake Jackson.
My man,
Your boy Jake.
Boy Jake.
11:17:21. We'll maybe I'll see if I can go and corral Jake to see.
I'd love to drag Kat in.
Dude, 100-mile challenge. I just could not.
I mean, he only
in
has
these conditions.
he only has 7 or so hours.
I
so.
just, I cannot even fathom. I don't want to see that track. I don't want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to go ultra. It's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, no. I got PTSD. No, thank you.
And think about those runners in the back of the pack that like had to start 2 hours later, that maybe take 18 hours.
And that
20 hours
mud
out
has
there.
been churned up by us. You
Yeah.
know, I thought of it. I'm at like, you know, I wasn't at the front, but I was in the front of the field. And I just remember, you know, Dad would always say, you know, yeah, Lucy, but think of the people that like you've now just like cut this up and they have to endure it, and that's just like,
oh, don't even start. As I started to deteriorate in my running career, I remember being in one race where it's like, oh, this is what a picked over aid station looks like. You know, the volunteers are tired and there's no more grilled cheese, and they're like, now we're out of bread.
well, I didn't contribute to the aid station lacking
Well,
of
that's
food.
true. You didn't eat any of that.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
The last thing I did on Lucy's dad and your relationship is, as somebody who's a dad of 3 boys in their 20s, and they grew up coming to all my races, and fortunately for them, they've all taken on, they all bike, you know.
Awesome.
They're like, they're cyclists, so they're gonna, you know, last a lot longer than me. But like that bond that you have, that you and your dad have with the trails and with what you do and what your passion is, I mean, there's nothing like it. And for a dad, you know, it's just like, so you could kind of see that at the same time as it was his moment.
Yeah.
It was also all y'all's moment, you know.
Totally. And like to have my brothers there, especially Tom, my middle brother.
Yes, and that was so poignant. Like he was just like, I don't,
Yeah, he was
he
like,
had no
"What is
clue.
this
Like,
thing?"
never seen any of that.
And so that meant a lot to Dad. And I think the win from the day came from the fact that he had his 3 kids there.
Yeah.
And, you know, we came together and we just kind of all went back to when we were 10 years old and just like, you know, bickering and fighting and making stupid comments. And yeah, it was a really special. And that was kind of something that, you know, he will forever remember. But yeah, I mean, my relationship with Dad is just, you know, it's just everything to me. And it's why I'm in this sport.
Yeah. Well, it's a great sport, and the sport is better because you're in it. And you know, we're a one big happy family, and it was great to see you out here today. And you know, some days, like we say in America, some days you're the windshield, and some days you're the bug. And maybe
feeling
today,
buggy.
Maybe today
Feeling
you're
buggy.
feeling a little buggy, but you'll have your windshield days soon enough.
I love that.
Lucy
Thank you so much.
Bartholomew, everybody. Thanks for coming on, Lucy.
Thank you.